Now, the 1999 Constitution, as amended, is superior to any other law in the land. Perhaps the defection of Ebonyi Governor David Umahi to the APC from the PDP was a litmus test for other politicians who considered ship jumping. The appeal court's decision on the matter constitutes what's known in law as the doctrine of decisis, a doctrine of precedents in law. Justice Taiwo Taiwo of the Abuja Division of the Federal High Court refused to order the removal of Cross River Governor Professor Ben Ayade and his deputy, Professor Ivara Esu, from office. The deference to the judgment of Court of Appeal Enugu, in deference to it, the court lacks the powers to remove a sitting governor. Please underline that. We'll bring you this report by TVC's Celestina Area. Please watch on.
Justice Taiwo Taiwo held that governors and their deputies can only be removed from office in line with Section 180, 188, and 189 of the Constitution, which stipulates that elective office holders can only be removed from office on the account of death, resignation, or impeachment. Justice Taiwo Taiwo said that since defection is not one of the constitutional provisions, no court has the power to insert such in the supreme law. The People's Democratic Party have predicated its suit on the fact that Senator Ayade and his deputy, presently member of the APC, did not win the 9th March 2019 governorship election in Cross River State, having defected to the APC.
I thank him for his awesomeness. I thank him for being the Lord of Lords and the God of Gods. I salute him in his fullness and royal majesty. I greet him with full adoration and glory. I give him the entire victory. It is not mine, it is his. He merely used me as a pencil to write. May God's name be eternally praised, now and forever and ever. Amen.
The court held that the defection of Governor Ayade and his deputy from the PDP to the APC is unfair. The court also has no power to remove them from office. Celestina Area, TVC News, Abuja.
Leko, the judiciary as an arm of government is stealing the show, if you ask me. It's the season.
They are the ones appointing governors for us now.
Yeah.
Even somebody who came forth can actually become governor in Nigeria by virtue of the courts.
Respect the law.
Yeah. See, the court is confusing me right now. In the case of David Umahi, the justice says the party owns the votes. Okay? And therefore said Justice Umahi should step aside or step down and his deputy.
Who said so?
That's the court.
Federal Court.
The Federal Court.
In one of the two cases.
In one of the two
so
cases.
What did the PDP say?
No. What the PDP says has nothing to do with, they've gone to court and all that. But the point is this, that the court, the first judgment says, please vacate the seat.
Yeah. Give them 7 days.
Because the seat, the votes belong to the party. The Constitution says, there are about 4 sections of the Constitution that says for the legislature, state and the federal, and then the presidency as well as the governorship election, you have to be a member of a political party before you can, and then the political party must present you for election before you can stand for election. Those 2 conditions must be fulfilled. You must be a member and you must. Now, when there's an election, the first judgment presumes that you are voting for the party. I think they even say, there's the argument that even you do not see the name of the candidate on the ballot paper. It is the party
voting for
logo that you see on the ballot paper. But this justice now says, wait a minute, between Section 180 and Section 189 of the Constitution, the only way to remove a governor is if the governor
is sick,
dies, is impeached, resigns, or maybe previously he had been sentenced to death, or he has mental problem, and so on.
in fact, he becomes incapacitated.
Yeah. You know, so those are the conditions which is in the Constitution. I've always thought that it was funny that you will say, for example, let's go back to Amechi's case. That
Amechi's case as a speaker or governor?
As governor.
Okay.
That he won the primaries of his party. But they did government magic, and then they gave it to somebody else.
His cousin,
who became the governor. And then they went to court. And then the court now says, this man is the one that won the primary, so restore him as governor and let the other person go. There's a confusion here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hoping that somebody can push these cases to the Supreme Court so that we have a final decision.
But before you go to the Supreme Court, be guarded and guided by the immunity clause. You may not remove an elected governor.
You can't. No, I don't agree with that. Because, for example, he can be impeached. He can be impeached.
The immunity didn't say that you cannot remove them.
No,
the immunity said you can't initiate criminal proceedings against them. That's what. But you can, according to, because Fawemi went to court, the court agreed that you can investigate them and wait
till after they serve.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. We must go for a commercial break. We'll be back. Please stay. Don't go. All right, welcome back. It's still about the case of Governor Ben Ayade of Cross River State. Should he or should he not go? But the court has said, no, you could not remove a governor that was elected.
Well, when you read that judgment, what Justice Taiwo Taiwo said was that the recent appeal court judgment on the Ebonyi State Governor, David Umahi, said you cannot. So, it's abiding, using that as a judicial precedent.
There's a precedent.
But when you look at that judgment by the appeal court on David Umahi, there are two cases in the appeal court. One of them was decided, the one instituted by the APC member. Yeah. The big one that, the second one, which was the bigger one, was instituted by the PDP. That was when the court said Umahi and his deputy should vacate office, blah, 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 blah. Now, you go back to Cross River State, matter. The same judge, Justice Taiwo Taiwo, as at last month, sacked the Speaker of the House of Assembly.
About 15 members.
17 members of the State Assembly and 2 members of House of Representatives, saying that there was
because they jumped
ship. The only offense they jumped ship. See, our courts can help in this democracy, but they are not. To me, they are doing more of confusing, mudding up the waters. They are mudding up the waters. If you review what is happening in our court, you can, when you deliver cases, judgment on cases that are similar, and you go here about today, then the other day they are seeing you in Shomolu, they are seeing you. Nigerian public, you get them confused. In this matter, the same judge, Judge Taiwo Taiwo, ruled that they should vacate office. He sacked them. Today he's saying this is political prostitution. When you check the when you win election, what do you collect from INEC?
Letter of
not letter.
Certificate of return.
Certificate of return.
Yeah.
You said you see it. So party, and they don't give it twice. The one that is in the hand of anybody who has, committed political prostitution by jumping ship midway. Our court will need to be firm and do something. No. Wait, I'm coming. If you rely, because they are saying the judge is saying that the National Assembly will need to amend. without even the National Assembly, the judgments of the court are laws. Our courts can strengthen this aspect of our democracy, because if you rely on members of the National Assembly, believe me, you won't get. If you look at the current amendments they are trying to do, they even put it there that political prostitution is not an offense.
Yusuf, sorry, we are joined by Danjuma.
Okay.
Danladi, he's in Nasarawa.
Okay.
Danjuma, good evening to you.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have something to keep. I don't know why are we confusing ourselves. Why is the court confusing us?
That's what you think.
In fact, I don't know. The names of the candidates are on the ballot box, and the ballot box carrying.
The line is muffled. Danjuma, the line is muffled, but I think I got what you said first time. Why do the courts in the land seem to be confusing matters? He's taking a cue from you.
Believe me, that's what the courts are doing. In a country where the highest court of the land can, choose governors for states and use all the latitude to pick anybody.
Yeah, but the court up to the Supreme Court is behaving true to the Constitution, allows them.
The Constitution allows them, but the country also a duty. You also have a role to play. You can muddle up the waters. You can steady the sinking ship if you want to, because all of us have a role to play.
Otherwise, you can leave the ship.
Because what we are saying here, in many cases that I've seen so far, the courts have been saying the votes belong to the political parties. But at some point, something else.
Yeah. Let's reconcile that with the fact that the Constitution, 1999 Constitution, as amended, does not debar you from jumping ship.
Well, you have a point there. I think there's a moral issue here. As the judge also said, that is a moral issue, that people jumping from one place to another, there's a moral issue somewhere here, and I think I agree with him. But I have been thinking to myself that where do I stand personally? What is my personal philosophy on this issue of people jumping ships? I get worried when I hear somebody like former Governor Donald Duke of Cross River. He says political parties are not in Nigeria are not quite political parties. They are just platforms used by the politicians.
Which is a fact.
Which tells me that our government, our politics is irresponsible.
Sorry, may I just take Dr. George at Ekpoma. Dr. George, good evening, welcome. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, let's go, yeah.
Yeah, this is Dr. George from Ekpoma.
Yeah.
I want to contribute to your program.
Go on, sir.
It's really the way our courts handle cases. I mean, the case is very straightforward. When we go out to vote, we go out to vote for parties. Yes, they must have presented a candidate, but that is not really the issue. It's very wrong for a governor to have stayed in a party we voted for, then now make up his mind, and one day just decides to defect, and the courts are saying is right. So I think this is an issue that should be handled, and the right things should be done to push our democracy forward.
Yeah.
It is the parties that own the votes, and that is exactly where I feel that we should stand for our democracy to progress. This issue of somebody contesting an election in a party, and then all of a sudden you not defect to another party with the party's votes, is not acceptable at all.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. George. Thank you very kindly. Lekon, you were explaining. I said the Constitution does not stop you from jumping ship.
I agree with you.
Carpet crossing.
You see, I entirely agree with you. It's not explicit. It doesn't say anything.
Although the judge said it was a lack of good faith.
Yes, I mean, as much as possible, he said so that there's a moral issue somewhere here. You know, what it means to me is that we're not playing politics of ideology or principles. We are playing politics of expediency.
So you believe former governor
Donald Duke?
No, Donald Duke, when he made that statement, you believe him?
Yeah, I can. That is what is.
The political parties are just vehicles.
Mere platforms.
Yes.
See what is happening now. I recall that, for example, it's not as if in other countries that people can. Reagan used to be a member of the Democratic Party.
Reagan?
Yeah, before he became Republican. Even Winston Churchill was in Liberal Party before he became a conservative. Before he became conservative, yes. You know, so I mean, I'm mentioning prominent statesmen.
But not when you are already elected.
When you are running.
When you are already.
They left those parties and went to join because they now believed in the philosophy or ideology of those new parties.
Yeah, but you know, the Constitution allows you to jump ship if there's small wahala or in your party.
What is the meaning of that wahala? I read that thing and I'm asking myself, isn't somebody trying to look for a way out of some... Isn't this dishonest?
But
so you now create
why are you surprised? Why are you surprised when players will tell you, they will tell you with all the guts they have that ours is a nascent democracy. We're still learning. 22
so that
years.
Justifies, can we call it political rascality?
Prostitution.
Or prostitution, to use that. Like. Listen, something is wrong. I know that there is a lacuna, there is a gap between, yes, you must be a member of a political party, you must be represented by the political party, as well as how do you remove a candidate, an elected officer, without now referring to his political party, the vehicle that brought him. Do you understand? I understand that. But what I think we ought to be looking at really is this. We should be talking to ourselves to consider the principle of independent candidates.
Yeah.
Then you can now be voted for on your personality.
Yeah.
Rather than on the basis of, so if you can then do whatever you like, you can go and run for president. If you make it,
you owe nothing to anybody.
You see, when
you fight your own war.
When you contest election and you go on the ballot day, believe me, nobody's face is there. Is the logo of the party that people vote. You cannot separate the candidate from the party. In this matter, I believe if we want to strengthen our democracy, the courts, because if you rely on politicians to change it, they will not. I said in the new constitutional amendment that they are passing around now, they made it that you can do whatever, jump from party A today and tomorrow be in another party. That is never a sin, but it is a sin. That's the point we are making. We're not saying our courts. Wait, I'm coming. Our courts can, help democracy in this regard. The Constitution only talks about the legislators, that when you are in a political party, you cannot leave unless there is this and that. The Constitution never said anything about executive members because possibly the Constitution didn't envisage that somebody who campaigned to tell people what he will do, and the party said, this is our party, this is our programs, this is what we do, and that the executive, you win on and later you will jump. The Constitution didn't envisage it. So that's a void. And when there is a void, we have the courts. The courts can pronounce and interpret the Constitution and set new direction. That's within the purpose of the law.
That's what they are doing in Yusuf. Lekon, imagine what would happen today if Governor Umahi, who left the PDP for the APC, was kicked. Do you know you will go to Edo? You go to...
No, you can't go to Edo.
No. It will provoke
No, you can't go to Edo. Edo
election,
completed his term on the party and moved and collected a new mandate on another.
No, he jumped ship.
No, it's not. These are totally different pieces.
No, he jumped ship before the election.
That's it. He jumped ship before the election.
The new mandate
is a PDP mandate.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but he jumped ship.
He jumped ship because his party said you cannot contest. It's a different thing entirely.
But he jumped ship.
No, that's not jumping ship.
The reason for jumping the ship is relevant. The fact of jumping the ship.
He for the purpose of contesting election. That's the
but I'm saying,
if you go to Zamfara State, it's another thing.
His term had not yet ended.
You trigger so many things.
What is coming here is so much of political absurdities that you need to do something. Go to Zamfara State. Do you know that the APC won the election in the first place, but because they didn't comply with internal democracies, the Supreme Court said no in that election. In the eyes of the law, you didn't have candidates. So, and they awarded everything to the PDP. Then the governor they swept aside the APC, of all, now brought in PDP. Along the line, the PDP, realized that it should become APC and moved. Then the deputy governor said, no, I'm not APC, I'm PDP. Just for that, removed him. See, we need to sanitize the system. There's a lot of,
we need to have an activist judiciary.
That is the point I was trying to make.
That will not just, if you look at, there's the logos and there's the rema. They need to go beyond just the letters of the law, and
the spirit.
Because they are psychologists, they are sociologists, they are culture agents. They should look at things and say, wait a minute, because at the end of the day, they are also playing their political roles. Don't forget that is the third arm of the government.
Yeah.
So they need to help us to sanitize. Let us have an activist judiciary that understands that if these people will not discipline themselves, come to the court. The courts will straighten you out.
Just as they are awarding their governorship. All right.
Legon and Adekule, we must move on. The court has spoken. So Ayade will still remain governor of Cross River until...
But that's not to say we like the judgment.
Go to court.
Okay, fine.
Go to court.